Well, transportation in the Wild West, the pioneer days, was something of a challenge. And there's no greater representation of that than the Ehrenberg Road, which connected Prescott and the highlands of central Arizona with the Colorado River. Hi, I'm John Krizek, past president of OCTA, and out here to tell the story of how the Ehrenberg Road was the major highway of transport for people and goods for 30 years before the railroad came to central Arizona. An unbelievable amount of freight and people passed this way. It was the middle of the Civil War when Arizona Territory was created because they were discovering gold in the highlands of central Arizona. Of course, that brought in miners and prospectors, and that brought in conflict with the Native Americans, and that created a need for the Army to come in and protect the people who were here. There was a lot of action along this road from the middle 1860s all the way to the 1890s, when the railroad finally connected the Prescott area with the main lines. Near here was a place called Camp Date Creek, which was a major way station on the Ehrenberg Road, and it was a military base from the middle 1860s to the early 1870s. Since it was a 6-day trip from the Colorado River to Prescott, they obviously had to stay overnight different places, and given the situation with the Indian Wars at the time, there was a lot that happened around here involving the Native Americans. Well, this is Culling's Well, the only source of fresh water within 30 miles either direction on the Ehrenberg Road. A guy named Charles Culling built this well. He had to go down 250 feet to find fresh water. It got the nickname the lighthouse in the desert because the guy that took over after Culling's died, he found it convenient to put a light on a pole at night so travelers could find the place, because out here you could get lost and die. Well, behind me here are the grave sites of Charles Cullings and probably a few soldiers who died in this area. It's a pretty desolate place. As is common throughout the West, the wagon roads followed Indian trails, as evidenced by petroglyphs such as this. Another interesting site along the Ehrenberg Road is in Quartzsite, and that's the gravesite monument to High Jolly, the famous camel driver and caretaker. About a decade before the Ehrenberg Road, Lieutenant Beale of the Army led a detachment. They thought camels would work well in the American Southwest, and they probably did. But then the Civil War came along and changed everything. But High Jolly apparently was here for a long time, but he was certainly a famous character in this part of the country. This is Tyson's Well. Of all the water wells along the Ehrenberg road that kept people alive. This was actually the shallowest. They only had to go down about 40 or 50 feet. Tyson's Well became a popular stage stop. Tyson's Well was described by early diarists as a rather desolate, dusty place. Well, right over there is Ehrenberg on the other side of the Colorado River, which is pretty low these days, but that's where the boats used to tie up to offload their freight to hit the road to Prescott. In those days, heavy merchandise many times would come by ship from, say, San Francisco. They had to go all the way around Baja California up to the mouth of the Colorado, offload onto smaller boats that would come up the river. And there was still traffic of those boats all the way into the early 1900s.